Well, here we are. Welcome back to the channel, guys. And as you would know by now, if you've followed me for a while, this Mustang is getting ready for rego, and all the jobs that I've kind of listed have been done. So why is the car up on a ramp, you might ask? Well, I'm just changing all the fluids before the rego inspection. Now, no one is going to fail this car for a roadworthy test if it doesn't have fresh fluids in it, but I'm just doing it for my own peace of mind. Everything else is pretty much sorted on this. Well, not everything, I've got a few more things to do on the car, but I think it will definitely pass roadworthy now. So the only last thing I'm doing is I'm changing all the fluids so that when it does pass tomorrow, fingers crossed, I'm ready to enjoy this car without having to worry about it. So let's get the fluids done, give it a nice quick clean, and we'll head off tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have a registered and drivable Mustang Cobra. Happy days. So here I am on my back underneath the Mustang. Some people say this is the natural environment of a Ford up on jack stands, but those of us in the know that that's just cruel. If you're a car guy, how can you not like Fords? They got a ridiculous motorsport heritage, probably the best motorsport heritage that there is. You gotta like Fords, right? I mean, if you're a car guy, you just have to, or maybe not like, but you at least have to respect them. To pull off everything Ford has pulled off, you gotta respect them for what they've achieved. And what have they achieved, you may ask? Well, I mean, what haven't they achieved, right? Le Mans, Ford versus Ferrari. What about Formula One? The last race Senna ever won was in a Ford-powered McLaren. Schumacher's first world championship, first win, in a Ford-powered Benetton. The most winningest Formula One engine of all time is a Ford Cosworth engine. Need I go on? World Rally cars, NASCAR, not to mention all the cool cars that they have built, including Mustangs. This is a 13mm, by the way, just 13mm nut. Undo it, oil out, put it back in, done. Alright, next we're gonna do the oil filter. I like to use this little hold the filter thingy. It grips these really well, just in case they're on really tight. By the way, I'm fully aware that I sound very nasal when I talk upside down. I sound like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Use the force, Luke. Trust your feelings. Anyway, grip it nice and tight and twist. Now you're gonna have some oil coming out, so have your drain pan ready underneath. I'm also going to put a glove on. I think I've loosened this up now. Take this off. Like so. There it goes, all over the steering rack. I've never went one car yet where the oil filter has been designed in such a way that when you undo it, it doesn't leak all over everything. I don't know why car companies do this. Would it have been really hard to move this away a little bit or move this further out just so you don't have to clean this up? Anyway, first world problems, right? Now this is usually a pretty long thread. Yep, there it goes. Bloop, 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 bloop. Just put it down somewhere. There you go, oil drained. I got a bit of cleanup to do, but yeah, these things take almost 6 liters of oil. It's 5 point something, 5.7, I think. The oil filler cap says 520, but the service booklet says 530. Now, I've also heard people use thicker oil than that, and when I went to the auto parts store, they actually recommended I use a 530. So not a 520, but a 530, because there's a few miles on this engine, obviously. So I don't know, it seems to me like there's all sorts of different viscosities that people are using for these cars. So what do you think? What sort of oil goes in these 4-valve engines? Because I, for one, can't get a straight answer. So if you're using an oil that you swear by, please let me know. Comment below. Let me know what you're using. I'm new to this, new to Mustangs anyway. So especially this quad cam 4-valve engine. So yeah, tell me what oil you use. What's best for these engines, especially with high miles. I've got 150,000 miles, 250,000 Ks. What should I use? Currently, I'm going to use 540. Yes, 540, not 520. And only because that's what the auto parts store recommended. And it was kind of what was there. Now there was 530 as well, but I thought extra 10, high miles, should be okay. So let me know. Tell me what oil you use. Love cleaning up old motor oil. No, I don't. I'm gonna get this all off just to make sure that Mr. Inspector tomorrow doesn't accidentally think that my steering rack leaks. And he might go, you can't drive on the road with leaking power steering fluid. Whereas you and I both know it's just old motor oil. Uh-oh, made a clean spot. Alrighty, we're good to go, I think. Let's put the oil filter back on. It goes there. Old oil out. So obviously don't throw this down the drain unless you want mutant rats in your sewers. Take it to your local recycling center and they'll dispose of it environmentally. I don't know what they do with it, to be honest. Hopefully they don't burn it. Alright, so with the new filter, what you're going to want to do, if you've never changed oil in your life, but being a Mustang owner, you probably have. I'll show you anyway. So with a new oil filter, what you want to do is just give it a little bit of oil just there to make sure that the rubber seals evenly across everything. So what I usually do is turn this cap upside down like that, and that puts a little bit of oil in there. And you just take a bit, rub some fresh oil all the way around, like so. Shiny. Okay. So you just screw this on now, and you're done underneath. Then we go up top, fill the sucker up. I always get a massive sense of satisfaction putting a new oil filter on. I don't know why. Maybe because they slide in so easily and you can twist them on by hand and tighten them by hand, but I don't know. I always like putting those things on. Am I weird? Probably. Of course I am. That's on. That's on. Let's fill up the engine before we forget. So here we are up top. We'll undo the cap. I already had this cracked, by the way. It was just sitting loose on there. The reason being is it's always a good idea to have this loose so that air can get in, and that makes the flow through the drain plugs a lot easier. Oil goes out, air goes in. Now, I got one of these funnels, right, to put the oil in, but to be honest with you, they don't always work so great. What I like to do is cut a plastic bottle down to size that suits me. Then the spout is really short, and I can just have it on there like so. If the thread is right, look at this, I can even screw it in to a degree. And then when that's sitting just the way I want it, we can pour the oil in. Now, like I said, this engine takes close to 6 litres. It's 5.7, something like that. Sorry, I don't know what it is in quarts. But what that means is this is a 6-litre container. So I'm gonna keep pouring here until this is almost empty. I'll start with about 1 litre to go. And then I'll check the levels. and then I should be able to tell how much more I need to put in. But there you go, we're about halfway there now. I'm also conscious that this engine at the moment is on a bit of an incline. We've got it up on ramps, so it might read a little low to start with, but once we level the car out, hopefully it'll be right. Not so much, more like 540, but that's okay. I think a little bit more viscosity is okay, less is a problem. So you wouldn't want to go 0-15 on this or anything like that. A bit of a thicker oil is probably a good thing, considering the amount of kilometers or miles on the car. All right, engine is topped up with oil. We'll check the level and top it up when the car is back on the floor. But right now, we're going to go and have a look at the gearbox oil. Alrighty, so here we are under the car. What you're going to need is a torch, a pan, so you can catch the oil from the gearbox. You're going to want some towels to wipe up with. And the other thing is just a ratchet. No socket, no extensions. Well, actually, just a small extension. But you just need the square drive on the end of a ratchet to loosen these bolts. Here's the first bolt. That one says drain, so that's a good sign. And then just a little bit further up, here's the other one, just there. And that one says fill. All right, so we're gonna crack this one. We're gonna drain this fluid. Gonna try to do this, hopefully without getting gearbox oil all over everything. Looks like someone's used red thread locker on this, and I don't think that's a good idea. You don't want these things to be permanently sealed. Actually, this oil looks very fresh. It's still red in color, which tells me that it was changed not that long ago. But that's something you're not going to know until you take it off. You take the plug out and have a look. Alright, this thing is splashing everywhere, so I'm moving back. Or I can just do that. Splish splash. See how it's a cherry red color? That tells me this isn't very old at all. Alright, alright, alright. As McConaughey would say. We'll put this back in now. I'm not too worried about letting it all drain out because, well, it's pretty fresh oil. So we're gonna take our spanner, flip it over, and tighten it back up. Not too tight. Yeah, don't go too tight. This is obviously cast alloy. You crack it, well, then you're gonna have a bad day. It's always good to just snug it up, not too tight. Alright, let's get the oil out of the way. And the next thing we're gonna do is undo the top nut and fill it back up. Oh, why so tight? Red thread locker, seriously. Alright, plug out. Everything looks nice and clean. No shavings, which is good. Alright, the fluid we need for the manual transmission is the Dextron 3 type of ATF fluid. It needs to meet Micron specifications. So the Mobile ATF and the Castrol Dextron 3 both meet these specifications according to the user guide for the Cobra Mustang in Australia. And lo and behold, we've got ourselves some Castrol ATF Dex 3. According to this, it's good for Fords. And checking the back, it meets Macron Performance and Dextron 3 and 2. So Castrol ATF Dex 3 is okay according to Ford. So the amount you'll want to put in is 3.1 liters right there. Can you see that? Is that blurry? Can't tell from here. Alright, 3.1 for the manual transmission fluid. So this is 4 litres, so we'll put almost all of it in. Now, as you saw before, the space underneath there is pretty tight, so there's no way we're going to be able to pour this bottle in. So I've got this little filler thing here that has a hose that goes on the end of it, like so. So we just attach that there, and we fill this up with fluid. And when we start pumping downwards like that, the fluid will come out and go into the gearbox. So this is a 1 litre, so I'm going to need to do this 3 times and then a little bit more. So that's in there, we're going to start pumping. That's 1, so we're going to need to do that 2 more times. There it is. Just get a finger tight so it stops dripping. Again, don't go crazy with this. You want it nice and firm, but mine was definitely too tight, especially with all that red thread locker on there. In fact, that there is probably good. Now again, I'm just going to come back in about a day. I'm going to check these and make sure that they don't leak. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Alright, gearbox is full. 2 out of 3. Let's move on to the back and change out the diff oil. Before we do that though, we'll get the car on level ground and we'll check the engine oil to make sure that it's topped up. If it isn't, we'll add a little bit more and check the dipstick again to make sure it's in the right spot. And then we're done with the engine oil, that one's sorted. Engine oil capacity, 5.7 litres right there. But mine took the whole 6 and I think it could use another half a litre. So yeah, weird one. 6.5 litres capacity, not 5.7. Just be warned, a 6 litre, whatever that is in quarts, 6 quarts, is not quite enough. You're gonna need a little bit more. All right, let's get this thing turned around. Let's take a look at the diff. Okay, interesting. So you want to see what a leaky diff looks like? So it looks like we've got a diff seal that needs swapping, a gasket. Hopefully that's what it is. That's a, oh no, hang on. We've got a little bit more fluid in the front here. And in fact, I think what might be the problem is the seal in the front here. We might need to change this front seal on the diff, but that's a problem for another day. For now, we're just going to clean this up real good and swap this diff oil out. To be fair, it doesn't look that old. I can see quite a bit of color in there. It's not black, but nevertheless, it's probably a good idea to swap this out. So with these diffs, I believe you fill it up there, but where do you drain it? That must be the fill plug. Must be the fill plug. So where do you drain this thing? Is that the drain plug? It's a little bit too high to be the drain plug. That's got to be the fill plug. So where is the drain plug? Alright guys, so for those of you who have worked on these cars before, you would know that this has brought me to a standstill. There's no drain plug, so you can't take the fluid out without removing the entire diff cover, which is a bigger job, which is something I don't have time for tonight. So yeah, come to a standstill on this one, but that's okay. That'll be another video for another day and probably part of a bigger, more comprehensive job. Obviously, I've got a leaky diff. It looks like a gasket or a seal in the front. I'm not sure which yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean that up. That will give me a better indication of where the leak is coming from. At the moment, it is covered in soot and it is covered in oil, and you just can't tell where the leak is coming from. So that's kind of it for the preparation on this Mustang for the registration inspection. It is due for rego tomorrow, so I'll be going in to get it inspected. I'm pretty happy with how we went with this video sequence. We've obviously changed the front ball joints and tie rod ends. We've done the rear cross joints, top and bottom, on both sides of the rear. And then we've also completed a few other things, such as replaced the steering column, changed the pedal rubbers, and we've fixed the broken light in the rear license plate cover. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot. Everything seems to be working well. We've got fresh oil in the engine and the gearbox. And we're going to give this a quick wipe down in the morning, and then off we go to get it registered. Hopefully get this inspection done, and yeah, fingers crossed we have a good result. Here goes nothing.